G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4. This is the Sultan's Ascent. We're on the map Dry Arabia, one of the older maps. No new biome, at least. I don't think this is Savannah by the look of it. Savannah? Yeah, Savannah. That was the name of the biome. Anyway, let's get into it. We got two great civilizations for you today. Spawning in on the west side of the map in the color red, playing as Jeanne's Legacy. It is Wham, aka Opa today. And on the east side of the map, in the color blue, playing as Jeanne d'Arc. I hope I got that correct for all you French fans out there. It's Vortex. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We got an exciting matchup for you today. And if you're excited by Age of Empires 4 and the brand new expansion, then I'm encouraging you, leave a like on this video. It really helps out with the traction of the videos. But I gotta tell you, I'm excited about this game that we are having right now. And the reason why is because we get to see what is arguably the best civilization at the moment. I think if you had to make an educated guess where the balance was, you'd probably put Jeanne's Legacy and the Ayyubids at the top for the new civilizations. I think what's important to remember, though, is that when it comes to judging balance at this stage of the game, it's still very difficult to gauge because we don't really have a baseline yet. So what do I mean by a baseline? Well, our standard civs, right? The 10 base civilizations that we've got, that is your baseline for balance. And we know how they all stack up against each other, but we don't know how the new civs stack up against them. So, you know, we might be calling for nerfs on Jeanne's Legacy or for the Ayyubids or even on Jeanne. Is it Jeanne? No, Jeanne. Even on Jeanne. I'm going to start saying it with a French accent. I feel like I just can't do it justice without it. Even, you know, nerfs on Jeanne. But you got to remember that at the end of the day, we are still early on in this expansion pack, and it's going to take time for everybody to work their place out. You just got to let them cook for a little bit. Anyway, speaking of cooking, though, let's take a look at how Vortex is doing early on as it looks to be picking up the wheelbarrow. Nice and early here. Looking to play that same sort of style that we see out of the French, the early wheelbarrow. I'm curious whether he looks to go into that fast school of cavalry for the early knight, and what direction he looks to take with Jeanne. Most common that we've seen has been the woman at arms. Initially, when it started out, everyone was moving Jeanne into the archer line, taking her down that route because you had the ability to snipe out villagers or spearmen. But people have quickly realized that, well, hold on a minute, if I put her into the woman of arms, I can go around, I can kill the boars, I can kill the wolves, I can get a whole bunch of XP for free, and then when I'm ready, I can go up to level 3. It takes a little bit of fighting, but the point is that it's actually pretty strong. And she's incredibly tanky in the late game, and even in the mid game, she's quite tanky, and you can really utilize that skill that she's got, the AoE skill, the area of effect. But age up's beginning to come through. It looks like it's going to be the meditation gardens first for Wham on this side of the map, and not a bad little meditation gardens he's got here. He does cancel it. I was about to say, you've got a pretty close berry patch down here. Oh my god, look at the size of this right here. Massive berry patch, double stone and the gold. But he's moved it down a little bit further, and I'm liking this preference. So he's going to be able to pick up the double gold here, gets the full berries. Ooh, doesn't get the full berries. Actually, does he? Oh, okay, he's getting the berries from the south side here as well, and gets the stone. It's just in on the corner of the stone. So he should be pulling in 60, 30, so that's 90 resources total, and I'm going to guess somewhere in the region of about, well, that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 berry bushes, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to be a meditation gardens, we can say that much. You know, this landmark is, you know, we were just talking about civilization balance, and, you know, we shouldn't jump to conclusions this early on, but if there's one thing I can tell you, it is that this landmark is probably going to get a rework or a nerf, one of the two. It's way too good at the moment. So my proposal for it is to give it like an upper limit cap, so that way you don't ruin it on maps where you get bad spawns, because at the moment, like, this is a really good spawn, right? We're talking 90 resources just from the golden stone, and then on top of that, then you've got food, which is going to be coming in. I'm going to estimate somewhere around 48 food per minute coming in. So you're talking about 140 resources per minute that's coming in. That's equivalent to 3.5 villages. That is ludicrous. That is so many resources coming in, and it's infinite, and it's just a really, really good landmark. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, but we do see the Jiangnan Tower also coming in, so looking for that early Song Dynasty, and I'm curious to see whether he looks to go for a barracks first, or whether he's going to be thinking about moving into that second TC, but at this stage, it looks like he's just going to be heavily focused on dropping down that barracks, wants to make sure that if he does, it's going to complete after the Jiangnan Tower, so he gets that early spear for free. Age up now comes through for Vortex. It looks like he's done a pretty decent job with Jeanne early on, making sure he's utilizing that early build advantage that she's got. And we do see the knight now in queue. Down towards the south side, Jeanne begins to march towards the boar. You can see that she is probably going to be looking to level up as she walks across here. scout around the back of the base. Still yet to see any villagers on the stone. That's going to be an important factor to consider. Do we have the 2 TCs here? Is it just going to be simple? And look at this beautiful play right here. He's going to be dropping the mill, getting the level up from the mill, and then bringing the boar over towards the mill. I love it. This is such a smart play from Vortex. Let's check in on that north side, as it does look like Opa has indeed gone for that early barracks. We can see he's got a spear out. He's supervised the first spear. The second spear just came out from the Jiangnan Tower. And he's looking for that second TC. A beautiful little timing he's going to be able to find here. I tell you what, this civilization is just incredible when it comes to this kind of, this opening. It's just got so much speed out of the gates. But let's take a look at the meditation gardens and see how we're doing. So we should be at, it'll take a full minute to come through, but it'll be 60 gold, 30 stone. And what did I go for? I think it was, I can't remember exactly. Let's check and see how much food. 62 food. So 64 food is what it will be. That's a pretty decent amount of resources that you've got coming in there. So what are we talking? 64 plus 90, so 154 resources that are coming in. That's ludicrous. That is so many resources that are coming in. That's almost 4 villages. Joan's out on the map though. You can see she actually just killed the boar here instead of bringing it over to the mill. She definitely could have gone for that play. I haven't actually seen someone lure the boar yet with Jeanne, but Scout now on this side of the map. Opa doing a good job at pulling that knight back. Obviously he's got a defense already. But, I mean, you can delay that knight, you might as well, but never mind me. There was already a knight there. There was a knight in the room all along, and it turns out he was hiding, so very nice job back there for Vortex. I'm curious, how much did he actually see? Does he know about the town center that's coming up at the front? Now, one other thing to note is that we do have that town center coming up on stone, and a good indication of a town center on stone is that those villagers are going to be going straight back to stone to work in a third town center. You can see he's slowly but steadily dropping it off here, wants to make sure that he's going to be supervising the drop-off. Very, very important. And let's check in with Vortex and see how he's doing, because he's just going to be playing a one-base style. I'll tell you what, if we've got one base, French or Jeanne, up against 3 TC, Juicy's Legacy, this is going to be the test right here, okay? So if Juicy's Legacy can beat Jeanne d'Arc with 3 TCs on the aggression, we can start calling for nerfs, because look at this. The third TC is about to get placed down. There you go. I think he's already hit it. Yeah, he's already hit it on the town center. 7 minutes into the game. Just absolutely ludicrous. And at this point, he could look to throw down another barracks. I think that would be a welcome addition here. But the main focus is going to be watching out a bit, being very fearful of that timing push that's going to be coming in. I think this is definitely a bit of a... So... Let me explain why I'm not a fan of this. This is great in the short term, but it's also dangerous because you're up against a civilization, and to be honest, you don't know a whole lot about what they're doing. They could be going 2 TC, but they might not be. So I would say the safer option would be keep that third TC closer to home, put it on the wood line, and instead what you're going to do is utilize the granaries together with the farms and look to play essentially like an English style. And that's going to mean that you don't have to stretch yourself as thin when it comes to your military. That means you don't have to stretch yourself as thin when it comes to your villagers in the positioning that they've got, because now all of a sudden you're quite open. So I think for a third TC location, a decent spot would have been like somewhere along here with a wall across the top, and then you just put all your granaries together with your farms along here. But have a look at this. We got triple archery range going to be coming down. Now, one of the interesting things to note in this matchup is that you've got the Zhugunu, and it's going up against the Knight. And this is something that I've talked about many a time before. One of the things to note with this matchup is that the Zhugunu does 5 damage when it's upgraded in Feudal, and the Knight has 4 armor when it's upgraded in Feudal. And that creates a bit of a dynamic where the Zhugunu is wonderful against everything except for the Royal Knight. So you've really got to make sure that when you're playing in this matchup, especially against the Johns, against John, that you have enough spearmen. That's really, really important. That's going to be your main focus. The alternative is that you just build a lot of Zhugunu. You build so much that you can one-shot the enemy cavalry, but then you've got to be careful because then they can just look for a castle age. So it's very... there's definitely a balance that needs to come in, but have a look at this. We've already got the battering ram beginning to come down. Keep in mind that Opa does have access to an outpost that he can build here, and the outpost is for cheaper. 60 seconds, or rather 60 wood is all it takes, and it builds faster. Keep that in mind. So we have got an ultimate defensive civilization in here. Let's have a look. We'll ride on board with him and see exactly what he sees. I did hear the scout call out, so I suspect he knows that the ram will be coming through shortly. Jeanne on the back here looking to help out. Does have a consecrate in the pocket. Let's check in with Vortex and see what he's looked for consecrate early on. It's just going to be the School of Cavalry, and he's pumping out units non-stop here. This is going to be the ultimate test of Juicy's Legacy. How broken are they? Can you really go for 3 TCs and just live your life like Rihanna used to? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. Who was it? Was it Rihanna and it was, oh, what's his name? Live your life. want to say T.I. It's T.I. You guys remember T.I.? T.I. Dude, that's a name you haven't heard in a while, have you? I can tell you right now, the last time you heard that was like 7 years ago at a house party, and you're like, I love this song. I love that song too. That's a great song. But now is not the time to talk about that song. Now is the time to talk about Juicy Legacy, looking to try and defend against this early aggression. Villager advantage already up to 18. The numbers here not looking too bad. He's going to continue to fall back away from it. Definitely wants to avoid this fight at the moment. Spears coming in. Decent job. He's looking to try and focus down this back line. Jeanne gets a nice little AoE attack off. Villagers inside the town center need to evacuate. You can see one of them jumps out. Needs to try and get onto these battering rams here. Hasn't really found the opportunity to do it just yet. Spears continuing to struggle to make connections here on the front line as they move forward. You can see the archers just doing a decent job of teeing off. The town center will go down, but you've got to keep in mind he's got a second TC in the back pocket. So it's not, you know, all is lost, not just yet. 7 villagers all standing on top of each other, going to get eliminated in a split second. Oh, you hate to see it. Oppa losing a massive advantage right there. Jeanne slowly getting... No, never mind. Jeanne's still on full health. Look at that. She's managing to stay alive in the fight, and the longer she stays alive, the more XP she's going to collect. All right, well, now all of a sudden the Meditation Garden's about to grind to a halt. This is 10 units, and not only that, it looks like the battering rams are going to be meaning business on it. We see the outpost beginning to come up as well. But I tell you what, this is looking a little bit sour at the moment for Juicy's Legacy. Behind this, what's Vortex up to? We'll check in with him and see how he's doing. As back home, it looks like it's just going to be more production that he's throwing down. No second town center, no castle age at this stage. And the Jukunu are going to be looking to defend here. Keep in mind, Jukunu very good against battering rams. Battering rams have a lot of ranged armor, but what do the Jukunu got? They've got extra attacks. So instead of doing 1 range damage here, they're doing 3 ranged damage every volley, and that's extra nice to have. Outposts coming up here on the front line just to protect this food. Looks like he manages to force units back from that Meditation Gardens. He's going to continue rallying in it. And at this point, all Oppa wants to do is just make sure that he has a constant stream of units coming. He can allow his opponent to go castle age, but there's a couple of rules that you've got to follow. If your opponent in this position goes castle age, you can't follow them up straight away. Instead, what you have to do is just spam spears. Because if they go for the Royal Institute, they can look to do a timing attack with Royal Institute or Royal Bloodline upgraded units. And if that's the case, you need to make sure you have as many spears as possible. You can try and catch them in the castle age, but it's very unlikely that you'll get your veterancy in time, because that's the normal thing that you're looking for. You're looking to try and get that veterancy. A little bit of a mistake right there. And Jeanne now levels up. We see that she's leveled up around the 12-minute mark. Not a bad little timing right there. And the men-at-arms are out. These are unique men-at-arms, unique to Jeanne. And these units are really good because these are castle age units. Like, they've got the castle age stats of men-at-arms, and on top of that, they've also got the bonus spears, the bonus against spears, and then they get the bonus little bit of armor. But now the attack comes in towards this north side. A little bit of a wall down on the south here, trying to defend a potential attack. Battering rams looking to focus down the blacksmith. We can see the ranged armor going to be coming in, but it's definitely not going to be in on time. Jukunu now beginning to pump. You can see he's up to 38. Let the man cook, they say. And now all of a sudden the spears come in, doing a decent job, but they're trying their best, the Jukunu, to focus down the cavalry. We're going to enter into the cinematic mode here, as it looks like Oppa definitely is intent on defending this town center. It's going to continue training out villagers, but now the men-at-arms making their way forward, and look how little damage Jeanne is taking right now. Spears towards the front. Remember, the men-at-arms get bonus damage against them. He looks to try and focus them down. First one will go down. Second one, now focused with that volley, and you can see how much damage these things are able to absorb. And this is the power right now of the French in the feudal age. So damn strong, and oh my god, it's a massive bout of damage right there from Jeanne. Huge damage, comes in, kills like 6 units, and backs on out. Look how much health she has, and she's healing on top of this. This is ludicrous. This is wonderful getting to watch, because I tell you what, you know, when you are pushing the limits of a civilization, 3 TCs is pretty good, I would say, when it comes to pushing those limits. Still with a 25 villager advantage here. Oppa trying to find a way back into this game. He's lost out a fair bit at this stage, but this is where you've got to be careful. Vortex has done a really decent job of cleaning up the town centers, so that's goal number 1 achieved. Goal number 2 is now to kill the Chinese player, and that's going to be hard to do in the feudal age, so I would recommend going to castle age, but he's going to look to try and take a fight here. Jeanne once again getting a beautiful swing off, barely taking any damage whatsoever. The Jukunu are going to be way too hard to break in this situation, so I think just going castle, looking to try and get that royal bloodline upgrade. He murders the sheep, you monster! Gets the heal off as well, and now once again charging in those spears, and nowhere to be seen. He needs to pull them towards that front line. You can see the Jukunu struggling to keep it together. But the numbers here starting to dwindle. You can see the micros really coming out for Vortex here. More knights coming in over from the east side. Reinforcements looking to help out with the party. He's extended out a little bit too far from his base. He's got plenty of production back here, and once again, Jeanne with a massive swing of that hammer. It's not a hammer, it's a sword, but you guys get the point, right? Now, once again, coming back in, she's looking for it. Is she gonna get it? She's gonna go down. She cops it to the face. The Zhuge bolts a little bit too much here, and now the Zhuge numbers have begun to fall, but still, once again, this is a situation where you just can't push in. There's way too much production in this Chinese base. Look at what we're talking about. Now the farms are gonna start to come up. Remember, these are cheap farms. They're super efficient farms as well. Paying 45 wood for each of these, and on top of that, you've got the discount because, well, it's not really a discount, but you've got extra wood because of your Imperial official that's supervising your lumber camp, and on top of that, you've got the faster building speed for the farm, so it means the farms take a little less time to build. It is just... it's everything you could ever want. Jeanne returns to the battlefield immediately, and we can see that straight away, she pops something, an ability of some sort. Consecrate? Maybe it was a consecrate. I think that's what it was. So we see consecrate on the stable, consecrate on the archery range, consecrate on the town center, looking to consecrate everything. I mean, let's consecrate the market. We might as well at this point. We've got that many consecrations. We may as well try for it. But now, let's check in. I want to see where Opa's at. So he's thinking about another town center, which I feel like... I mean, we've got God vision, so we know, right? But, like, you've already got a pretty decent lead when it comes to villages. Despite losing 12 villagers, you've still got a 20 villager lead at this point. You're not doing too bad. The most important thing is that you just don't die. And to avoid dying, we just need to make units. And the key here is that we want to make spears. The most important unit for us to have is spears. Because when it comes to Zhuge, we've got, 50 Zhuge. If the enemy's got 50 archers, we're still going to break even. The issue's going to be the spears. If we don't have enough spears, we will die to the knights. And that's what we've got to be so careful of. But I think Jeanne really takes that cake to the next level. And have a look at this. We've actually got the guild hall beginning to come through for Vortex. So mixing things up a little bit. I would actually say... this is a position, normally you wouldn't look to play, oh gosh, sorry for moving the camera like that. Normally you wouldn't look to play a Royal Institute unless you were on 2 TCs and had an economy that could support going for knights in Castle Age. But I think when you've got a decent build-up of knights like this, 11 knights, this is already some pretty decent numbers. And I think you can support going into that upgrade, but Vortex is going to gamble with the guild hall here. I say gamble because when you play the guild hall, you're playing the long game, right? This isn't going to pay off for at least 5 minutes, maybe even closer to 10 minutes until you're actually going to be able to get value from this landmark. Compare that to the Royal Institute, where you've got access to the Royal Bloodlines. So that's the direction I think. But I'm curious to see exactly how he's going to be able to use this landmark together with Jeanne. And let's have a look and see what upgrades we've got coming in. So I would suspect we're going to have veterancy coming in for both of our units, the Archer and the Royal Knights. And there we go. Expect to see +2 ranged attack also going to be coming through as well for the Archers, just to help them out a little bit more against these units. Actually, probably prioritize +2 ranged armor in this matchup, just because of the Zhuge. But now... beginning to force back the battering rams. It looks like you'll be able to clean them up. A little bit of a heal goes back here for Jeanne. Keep in mind, that's a pretty decent cooldown, 120 seconds. Both of the battering rams do go down and Opa now making... I would say this is quite dangerous to push out in this position. I still think the best thing that you can do here is look to wall up, add more spears, and then... depending on how soon your opponent attacks, look to try and get that Castle Age, but he's going to push out here. I think this is very dangerous because his opponent can definitely look to overwhelm him. The numbers are going to be here. Veterancy coming through on the Royal Knights. It's ready. And now looking for veterancy on the Archers. Remember that the win condition here is the Knights. If the Knights survive, the game is over for Jusey's Legacy because the Knights will just immediately run towards the enemy base and they will pause the economy of Jusey Legacy, and there'll just be nothing that you'll be able to do, especially because you're going to have that Castle Age that is just reinforcing more and more units into you, and they're very strong units. But now we start to see that farm transition happening. Look at the amount of resources he's got in the bank. This is exactly what he needs to do, but he's been caught out of position here. Snipes down the first of the Knights. Plenty of units do go down, and we'll enter into the cinematic mode once again as a couple of spears head their way forward. It looks like Jeanne's trying to find her way through, but look at the damage coming in onto Jeanne. She's almost getting taken out there. Spears still needing to help reinforce the front. The Zhuge numbers are absolutely ludicrous, and you can see he's actually baiting forward all the Zhuge together, trying to snipe out Jeanne and doing a wonderful job there. Still losing out plenty of Zhuge. Spears rallying in. The numbers looking pretty decent at the moment on the defense for Jusey's Legacy. He's going to try once again to see if he can get Jeanne. Down she goes. And the defense continues coming in, rallying in towards this army. You've got to be careful pushing it into the base. We hear Jeanne immediately brought back. Straight away, she's going to be running over here. There's the spears rallying in, and the numbers not looking too bad for Jusey's Legacy. Remember that he opened 3 TCs, and he's still defending it right now. Numbers aren't bad at all, but we can see that the veterancy is going to make a significant impact in this fight. And now, all of a sudden... the Knights are going to be making their way through. We can see them onto the back line. They're soaking up a whole bunch of damage, and the Archer numbers are looking good all of a sudden. This is where it starts to get scary for Jushi's legacy, because now those reinforcements are going to continue to come in and the base is open. It means that knights can begin to come in, hit this bottom side, and look, that's exactly where they were going. He's switched up a little bit here, but the archer numbers are starting to get really good. I'm curious to see whether he picked up that +2 ranged armor. It doesn't look like he has just yet. These guys are still sitting on +1 ranged armor, so still fighting this effectively. I guess it's just the veterancy that makes all the difference here. You could see that he was up on the numbers of Zhuge-Nu, but still unable to hold for the moment. But now, Jeanne comes running in. She spots a whole bunch of villagers. She's not even gonna need to, because Good Game just gets called. He's camping the production, and that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of an upset, but we're testing the boundaries of Jushi's legacy, and I gotta say, it still looked pretty scary, but Vortex doing an absolutely marvelous job. Fellas, I'll leave a link in the description of where you can watch these two players live, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.